fucking book.
All right, well, we're live. If you want to get right into it, you just go ahead and get into it.
Dude, I'm gonna say that a week ago when we were supposed to record this, but Chris or somebody was just unable to.
So Chris said that he was not going to be able to do it, and he's going to need to take a break. Um,
So,
we would have recorded, but the problem is that I started antibiotics on Friday, and I actually got
mm,
fucking worse on the antibiotics. So I was like, "Fuck that shit! I'm just going to pass out."
well, when I had messaged him last weekend and say, "Hey, are we recording today?" He goes, "Dude, I haven't even really read the book because I need a break from it." And I was like, "Okay." And then I had already finished the book and was already like, "What the fuck did I read?"
Like you forgot it already?
Like, no. After 2 weeks, I still just reading the book had no idea really the full main premise. Maybe it was because
Did you
I
read
was
it? Did you read it, or did you listen to it?
I listened to it. I
Okay,
listened to it twice because this past week I went through the chapters that really made a little sense to me, and I tried to skip chapters, so I was just listening to one character's kind of progression
gotcha.
because that's what took me on a turn is I got so lost with
Jumping from
every
one
chapter.
perspective to the other.
Every chapter was a different perspective, and sometimes I'd be listening, and I'd be painting, and I'm just like, "Who am I listening to right now?" Like, the way the book was written,
So
no, thank you.
I didn't listen to the audiobook, so I have no idea how the narration is. Like, is the narrator making any like
It
effort
was
to make the characters sound different from each other to make it easier for
yeah,
you to determine who it is?
very slightly.
Okay.
He slightly is, but it was still one of those things, listening to it in Audible, it kinda, like, got jumbled, and there was a point where I was like, "Listen, Nate, you're too dumb to read this book."
You're too dumb to read this book.
I just I got so lost. I was just like, I don't get it anymore. They talked about Dragonborn a lot, and I liked that because I
Just like
like
the term
Dragonborn.
Dragonborn.
Yeah,
Um
that's the character I'm
so
painting right now. Is a Dragonborn.
Nice. So for me, all I did was read the book once, and I was originally going to do it in like basically one sitting or like within 2 days. So I started reading the book, and I got about 40% through, and I was like, okay, this is really good, but I'm fucking tired. I need to get to sleep. And then I picked it up again the next day, and it felt like the story kind of just like slows down in that middle third of the book, and
Yeah.
I was like, okay, it was a little bit of a slog. And then I got to the end, the last third, and it started picking up again. I was like, okay, and then I just rushed through it and finished it. But there was that like 4 day period where I was like, all right, I'll read a chapter, but I'm kind of not into it. And then it kind of just picked up again for me.
Hmm.
By the way, I forgot to mention, I have someone filling in for Chris, and they're about to join us right now.
Did you read the
Okay.
book?
He did read the book.
Is this your
Oh,
friend from work?
Yeah.
tell him he can explain this book for me, then. Please.
There he is. Let's see if
We
we can
got
get him on camera.
we got Jay Fro.
Yeah, this is Jeff. Although I don't know if he has his mic working. Come
Burger, why do
on.
you choose books that make my brain hurt? I
Because
The
the
book
brain.
it didn't really like it wasn't again. I was reading it, so I could literally see who was talking. Um, so it wasn't really confusing for me. There were chapters that I did not like the Elvar character. I didn't really care for her. Her
Elvar.
chapters felt like filler mostly until the
Oh,
end when it kind of like, oh, these people suck.
The people I kept getting mixed up was Varg and Orca. Their chapters.
Really?
I
why they felt so different. The I
just
confused.
when it start, I'd have to go into Audible and look at the chapter and be like, okay, this is Orca. Like
Oh,
constantly. I just got so lost in who was who.
very early on in the book, before I like memorized the names, I confused Elvar and Varg, just because they both had that Var sound in their names, and I'm like, and they were trying to join a mercenary band, or one was already part of a mercenary band and one was trying to join one. So I thought because Elvar's chapter started after Varg's, that Varg was Elvar. But I was like, oh,
Even though
okay.
Varg is male and Elvar is female.
Well, that's what I was like, wait, no, why is this person supposed to be female now? And I'm like, oh, these are two different people. All right, got it.
I'm kind of glad I didn't pick up the audiobook then, because it seems like you guys both got confused by it.
No, it was only at the very beginning, and that's just because I'm not used to Norse names.
Yeah, well, like one thing was, and it happened to Jeff too, when they were talking about the Sikhs, that dagger they have.
Yeah.
In the like, so they keep mentioning it with the axe, like as it's wielded with another weapon. But the thing is, it's spelled SEAX.
Yeah,
so it was like,
is it
is it Seax? Is it Seeks? Like, what the hell is it? So I was just thinking it was called
It's a sax.
Seax. That's
Dude,
how they say
I'm
in the
an
book.
idiot. In the
Yeah.
beginning, when
Well,
they
that's
first
what it's
started
called.
saying that,
Saxes are actual knives.
Okay, because when I looked up the pronunciation of the word, they said it was Seeks.
Oh, I don't know. The pronunciation they use in the book is a sax. But like, no, those are
had one.
yeah.
I mean, it's a dagger. Like everyone's just like, this is a dagger. Anyone who's fighting is gonna have one in their belt.
I wanted to count how many times this motherfucker said sax in this audiobook.
The word comes up a lot.
It's a traditional style knife.
Especially in those, dude. Did anyone else get a sense? I don't know who else listened to the audiobook, but this book was super descriptive, which I liked to a point. And then I was like, okay, man, I get it. Like I understand what's going on now. Please go back to the action. You don't have to be that descriptive.
I didn't think it was that descriptive. I think there was a good mix of action in there. People were dying like every few chapters.
Let's try the
action was
let's
cool.
try the Wheel of Time and see if you still feel that way.
Yeah,
like,
no,
it's not descriptive. It's not descriptive like Stormlight Archives or anything like that. Like where that can be really descriptive at times. Although he's a lot better than like the beginning part of like Wheel of Time.
One thing that bothered me. So at the end of the ebook, it has a glossary, like telling you like what some of these words are and how to pronounce them. Sax or CX was in there, except all it does is it just says, "Oh, this is a dagger," but there's no explanations of how it's pronounced compared to the other words. And it's like, why this inconsistency? Why tell us how to pronounce these words but not this word or that word?
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. What the fuck happened there, man?
Oh, sorry. Slept in and then I was not awake enough to figure out my audio settings for a minute there.
Well, do you have your camera?
Somewhere.
He's so unprepared.
I know. I am so sorry. I should have done way better. I set an alarm to wake up an hour before because, then I could have had this stuff figured out.
And then it just didn't work.
Yeah. And then, I don't know. Probably too many beers.
Oh, that's right. You are an alcoholic.
Yeah,
anyway,
find my webcam somewhere. But, yeah. The book being too descriptive thing, in some aspects, I thought it was. Like them consistently referring to it as a thought cage the entire time, as instead of saying,
Dude, that was
hey,
the most
in my head.
Thing.
Yeah.
Thought cage. I was like,
my
bro,
head
just say
pictures.
just say dome piece or your fucking skull.
Yeah. Like, don't make me read an extra word every time you say mind. There was no reason for it.
And sax. Sax was one of those words that
he's like, hey, I found a weird name for a knife. Let's use it every 3 words.
I had never heard that word before. And so when he was like, oh, he picked up a sax, like the first time, I was like,
a saxophone?
Is this like a bag of coins or something? Like, is he
I
just
was like,
carrying
is a hand axe and a hatchet?
I thought he was picking up a bag of something and about to just wield it.
When I first, before the thing is, the book doesn't even immediately describe it as a dagger until like 6 chapters in. So I keep seeing the word, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, so it's a seeks or a sax and a hand axe. Like, is this a special kind of axe? Apparently no, it's a knife.
It took me a while to remember what it was, but I definitely know saxes are things.
No, yeah, I looked it up on Wikipedia and I was like, oh shit, it's a real thing. It's not some made up word that this guy's throwing into this.
Yeah, it's just like a traditional Nordic knife, and I was just like, oh, okay. It's just actually placing where stuff like where this whole thing is sort of based off of, because it's all being based off of Norse mythology kind of stuff.
I mean, very loosely. But
Well,
it's
yeah,
there.
it's all setting. I guess it's all Viking era setting. I guess I should have said.
Yeah. But it definitely, so to me, the first time that I went through the blade itself, and remember I basically said that, yeah, this book is basically just the
I have
party
one just like that
gathering.
somewhere. I just don't remember mine.
The book to me was basically just a party gathering thing for the blade itself, and I kind of feel like kind of the same with this book. It's kind of just like one whole big prologue.
Yeah. I mean, it's book one, and it's like there's. I think that's okay. I was like, it was definitely like halfway through. I'm like, oh, okay, we're just setting something up here at the beginning of this. And like, yeah, like that kind of became obvious halfway through, and I'm like, that's okay. I mean, it's a short book. It's not like it wants to be.
Now he shows up.
Yeah. It's not like it wants to be like the super big fantasy book right off the bat. It's just gonna try and like hit you like I've written a very big set piece, and I'm gonna get all these characters together for this first kind of book, but I'm gonna try and fill the world as much as possible. It's kind of like a perfect sphere of a book, like how it like optimizes surface area of what it's trying to do, while still not like bloating out the size of it.
I kind of disagree. I kind of feel like he didn't. Nothing. There's no set thing for how the book is supposed to go for the next part. She's chasing after her kid. A couple of the characters are laying in the dirt, but there's no quest. There's no. We know that there's a big dragon flying around now, but it seemed like a prologue. It seemed literally like one of those things that's like, hey, there's this thing that doesn't make any sense that started in the beginning of a book, and then we'll pick up a story now.
Speaking of the dragon, like they immediately tried to kill the dragon as soon as it escaped. Like if they were that willing to just fucking end the dragon, why was that not already option number one?
Because it was trapped down below?
No,
I'm
those
not sure what you
those
mean.
three Valkyrie types were in there with him. The tree spirit was the one that was outside.
Yeah.
But the three Valkyries that were trying to slay the dragon when it got out, they were inside the tree with it.
Yeah, I think they knew that they would probably be unsuccessful. So because it was already imprisoned.
I think, well, I mean, the only reason they
There
were
would've been
unsuccessful
far
is
more-
because the dragon had help. Like before the I can't remember what the fuck the other mercenary group was called, the bad ones. They assisted the dragon and they actually killed one of the Valkyries. But until they got involved, the Valkyries were fucking that dragon up.
The Raven Feeders.
Yeah. So, like, honestly, I don't know why they were keeping the dragon alive. Like, I'm hoping they explain the reason why they didn't just immediately kill this bad fucking dragon, as opposed to just waiting for it to escape and then being like, okay, now we have to off it.
The way the tree spirit said it too was like, oh, once you get through me, you'd have to get through the three furies. But then that lady just walked right up and did it, and then let them out, I guess, is what she meant.
Yeah.
But
Well, the tree spirit was all like, "Oh shit, these are Dragonborn. There's a problem here." She was definitely afraid of Dragonborn, but she had no issue with the other people.
which they said multiple characters were Dragonborn, and then they never said anything like.
Basically, well, they kept saying that
have red eye.
Dragonborn weren't a thing. Like they're a myth. They don't exist. The other tainted for sure exists, and then we find out these Raven Feeders are actually fucking all Dragonborn. And
Well, I think the book set up a long way through it is that all of these things that are myth are actually real. Like just because it's been 300 years and nobody's really sure of anything doesn't mean that none of it's real. Like setting up all these stories and then making them show up as being real for our characters had been a theme, I think, throughout this book.
I think the only thing that was just contested was the existence of Dragonborn, but everyone else was like, "Oh yeah, tainted tree spirits,
didn't- what's
these
the name,
fucking
kill one?
Vason, all that stuff." Like they all seem to just be pretty
Well, no,
comfortable with
they-
those things existing.
What's this mythical land that they traveled to again? Like that was just supposed to be a myth. Like there's like the what were Battlesworn? We're all like, no, like like I don't believe that this is a real place, and she's like, no,
Battlesworn or
it's a real
Bloodsworn?
blood.
The battle.
Battle Bloods.
Yeah, the Battle Grim and
The
the
Bloodsworn.
Bloodsworn. Yeah. I combined them. Sorry. The Battle Grim were just like, no, all that stuff's made up, and then she's like, no, it's real. Believe me. And then the guy's like, okay, fuck it, I'll believe you. Let's go. You got blood magic going. What?
I said, and it's a short boat right away. It didn't
Yeah.
take very long to get there.
The pacing was a bit weird of like the how fast they traveled to different places. Unless like the map that is in the book is not a big map, but it's like how far zoomed out is it? But they definitely traveled really fucking quick.
What are we working with the storyline of the Genghis Khan guy? They showed up, said that one guy was a criminal. They got in a fight, and then nothing else happened.
I don't know who you mean, Genghis Khan guy.
The guys who came up.
Oh, the ones who
the
came from that other land.
Yeah, the Iskandar guys.
I think
Or
I'm imagining that they're gonna play a bigger role in the second book whenever that comes out. But like, yeah, they just got like basically like, oh yeah, these are these guys. They're mounted and they have this kind of armor.
We talked to the queen, and then they're like, "Peace, we're gonna go find the dragon."
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
what's gonna go on with that guy, but I imagine
know.
they're gonna play a role in the next book.
It just seemed like it was gonna be a thing, and then I just realized.
Yeah, because like
that
he was there specifically to get somebody that was with the Bloodsworn.
Battleground.
Was it the Battlegrim that he was with?
Yeah.
No.
He was
No,
he
they
was
were
with
versus
the
the-
Or was Elvar?
He's with the Bloodsworn.
he was with the Bloodsworn.
Yeah.
So that
No,
was
no.
that was Varg's.
That was Varg, not Elvar.
Yeah.
So he was specifically there to get some guy from that group. So I did imagine that there was going to be like a little bit of a cat and mouse thing going on, but no, he just kind of fucks off.
I just view them as like, wherever they go, the Bloodsworn are gonna have kind of issues.
Nope.
And it's just like, and then no, because they do have issues everywhere they go because they're
Yeah, but not issues with that guy.
Yeah, I didn't say issues with that guy. I just said that they're gonna be the problem, and then it's just like, oh, like they kind of get away with doing whatever they want in this kingdom because like even the queen of this country is like, yeah, I need to hire you guys to go take care of my monster problem, because they're too good at what they do, basically.
Because it turns out they were fucking tainted, all of them.
Yeah. And so like talking about this as like being a problem of some kind, I don't think was necessarily there's a big focus. I think all it really wanted to do was establish that there is another human empire located somewhere else.
South of them.
Yeah. And like they don't have the same problems as the Northern Empire or these Norse people because they have
They have more
they have all these they have more slaves, they have the tainted, they have all these relics of the gods. They are essentially living in the formal battlefield of the gods, like they have the whole battle plane there. So I think it was just like partial world building, establishing that there's going to be some other kingdom out there later that might pose a problem to stuff that's going on.
Yeah, like my the only thing is the middle of the book for me was kind of a slog. Like that middle third was just but like first part and last part were great for me. I do want to read the next book when it comes out, but I'm wondering if this guy's other books are like this, like the Malice book and that series, or if
I want to try to read the Malice one too, but I agree. Like the 3 different character arcs that didn't intersect until the very end for 2 of them, and the other one just didn't intersect at all. It made the book drag out at points. Like all the storylines were entertaining on their own, but they just
I could have left Elvar's story entirely. I didn't need it.
Yeah, it literally could have been a 3-chapter prologue, and I would have been fine with it.
Yeah, her story was probably the weakest for me. I don't think it was bad or anything like that.
I did like the reveal that Orca has those ties to the Bloodsworn, and she's Orca Skull Splitter, and they kept mentioning that guy's brother Skull Splitter and how he died. When he didn't actually die, apparently he just retired and went and started a family. But I do think it's interesting because like the Skull Splitter guy's supposed to be badass, but then like in Orca's perspective, she consistently mentions that she's actually better than him as a fighter. She just doesn't think ahead like he does. So it kind of makes me wonder just how well, no, I mean, we really do get to see how badass she is. She just is constantly fucking just murking people left and right.
Yeah, she just walks up to the meat hall and just like kills like 20 men.
She fucking
kill everybody but one person.
They fucking show up at the fortress place where she's at, and she's just surrounded by dead bodies.
Yeah.
Although, so Mord gets fucking knifed in the stomach, so we know he's dead. But his brother Leif, like, he's not mentioned in that last chapter. Like, they mentioned she's sitting there. There's the two Vaesen with her, and then there's a bunch of kids. But Leif is just not mentioned at all. So, like, did he run away? Did he die, off screen? What happened with him?
Was he the one that got bitten by the spider?
Yeah.
But they said that's not supposed to be fatal poison.
It's just supposed to slow them down enough for the spider to just start fucking eating them.
Yeah.
I also wasn't a huge fan of the two talking ravens from out of nowhere. I know it's a nod towards like
Mugen and Hunan.
Yeah.
I loved all of the monster stuff. I don't care. I fuck with that shit heavy.
Stuff. I just didn't like that it came out of nowhere without any other reference to them existing.
Nope, I like it. I don't care. Just throw weird shit in the book.
I definitely think that the Ravens were kind of thrown in there as kind of like a nice little way of getting the two Vaesen to show up as well in the next chapter for Orca. They were just like, hey, we found your friends. Here you go. We got you back now. We're even. That's basically what it felt like.
Yeah. I liked it. I don't know.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. It definitely felt a little bit like it was thrown in at the last moment. Like, hey, I forgot about these two Vaesen. Should probably throw them back in there.
I don't know. It feels like a very old fashioned story where like, the heroes happened upon, a monster in need and they saved them, and then they reward their kindness when they need the help. I don't know.
It was an immediate reward too.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't care.
No, I'm just
saying.
I'm not saying I disagree with it. I'm just saying it was I can definitely see why some people would not like that.
Yeah.
Now
they tried to do like the grimdark thing for the most of it, and then that was like a high fantasy like nod to just toss that in.
Oh. Sorry, I talked over you, Nate. What were you saying?
Not much of anything.
I'm sorry.
I felt like I missed a lot of this book just listening to it in Audible.
I'm like, honestly, considering both of you said that you both one of you started confused, one of you is still confused by the audiobook. I'm really glad I decided to read it.
Yeah, I'm still confused.
Well, it was just the difference of like not having the chapter title at the top and like having to listen that it switched to it, because it announced to it was switching to.
Yeah.
But it was just like I wasn't paying the closest attention to it exactly when I started the book. So it was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 6 chapters in before I'm like, okay.
Varg is not Orca.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, that was probably his issue. My issue was that Elvar and Varg could have been the same person for a second.
I felt like reading the actual physical book would have been better.
It's definitely a good read. The only thing is that like you're gonna see like some Norse script in there, and it's like, wait, how is this pronounced?
Yeah, I just ignored that every time it came up. I just made up a random pronunciation in my head and just
just went with it.
Like, I don't know. I like the book. The magical and Norse tropes were pretty cool. Monsters, of course.
I liked a lot of it too. It was a good book. I probably came off on it a bit harsh, just me nitpicking things. I really did like their long hauls being made out of the skulls of the dead gods and all that kind of
That
stuff
was pretty
too.
cool.
That was pretty cool.
I mean, not all of them were made of souls of the dead gods, but the really big ones were.
Yeah, the two real big guys were.
I want to see more of these giants. It's just got that giant's talking head sitting in the middle of the hall. It was just out of nowhere there. Just suddenly, giant's head.
Yeah, no,
Sounds
the casual reference to something crazy like that too. Like
Everyone's just like, oh, it's cool. We're cool with it. It's fine. It's normal.
oh, what's that skull that's the size of a building? Oh, don't worry about that. That's fine.
The dead god.
So,
Yeah.
I would recommend it. I'm guessing Burger would recommend it. I think
recommend
Nate's
reading
on the
the
wall
physical
here.
copy. I'd recommend it. It was a good book, but definitely read the physical copy.
The expression is on the fence.
What about you, Jeff?
I'd recommend it. I'm cautiously optimistic for the rest of the books. I wouldn't like to recommend it without the series being complete, because then you get into problems with authors not finishing things. But
Oh, that's right. You and Burger would like to probably discuss the whole King Killer Chronicle and that never finishing.
even the Wheel of Time, I read for 15 years before it finally got finished, and that took the author dying and then replacing him.
That's right. You did mention how you were like when you were a kid, and that was coming out, and then started slowing down.
Yeah.
Now,
Good old Martin never finishing the Wheel or
yeah.
the Game of Thrones. I don't think it's going to be nearly an issue for this guy because he does have multiple series he's already finished. But
He does seem to kind of just churn them out too. So before, while Burger was dealing with his camera issue and you weren't on yet because you were passed out drunk, Nate and I were discussing that we'd like to move away from books for a little bit, mostly because he's getting burnt out on books. And also, remember, the original plan for the podcast was that we were going to cover multiple types of media, not just books. We were just going to start with
That
books.
was... Yeah, one person recommended thing was my idea, but then you wanted to narrow it down to books.
I think Chris was the one who really wanted to push for audiobooks just because he found it convenient.
Okay.
Now, the question is, what media format do we want to try next so that we can keep Nate here? He looks so excited.
We're all gonna go play Baldur's Gate 3.
I don't know if we can do that in a week.
Yeah.
It's just early access.
Well,
No,
since are there any? I would have liked to have switched to this when Dune was originally supposed to come out back in October of last year.
Yeah, that was like the whole premise of us starting all this.
Yeah,
with,
so we could
Dune.
go into the movie after, but that's still not a thing until later this year. So,
Did you see Momoa was pushing to do a long 6-hour cut?
I did see that, and I'm
They're like,
kind
yeah,
of like,
give us all the footage.
I'm kind of like, I would be okay with that. A 6-hour cut of the because
I'd probably watch it.
I didn't remember the audiobook being so long because I listened to it, and then I bought the book, and I'm looking at the book, and the book's fucking thick. I'm like, wait, how long is this book again?
It's not that long.
The name itself wasn't that long. Like
The book is just fucking thick for no reason. Then I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's like a special
like
release version of it.
Like it has an introduction by Neil Gaiman, but other than that, I think the rest is the book.
No, it should be a tiny little paperback.
Oh, it's a hardcover, so maybe that.
Yeah,
also...
I think you just bought a special edition of the book because the Way of Kings thing over there that I bought is $2, but that was a relatively normal book size.
Yeah, no, the Way of King was my paperback is that thick.
Yeah, I remember it when I was reading it from your paperback. So we need to figure out: do we want to watch something? And if it is it going to be a season of a television show? Is it going to be a movie, or is it going to be? Please, Burger, don't mention an anime.
Well, I was gonna say because Nate had mentioned that he was watching Jujutsu Kaisen, And I'm like, everybody could just watch that.
That
It'd be
is.
great.
And
I would love-
what is that on?
Crunchyroll.
So we have to have a
Crunchyroll.
subscription in order to watch it.
I mean, I could lend you mine.
I don't think you need a subscription, do you?
I mean, if you want it without ads, you need a subscription. But yeah, I
Um,
think it's free to watch right now. Like, because the way Crunchyroll works is that you can watch shows with ads, but you can't watch shows the week they come out.
So it's like a
unless
week
you have a
delayed?
subscription. Yeah, but Jujutsu Kaisen is already out, or the first season of it is already out. So you could watch it if you wanted to.
How many
I'd watch
episodes
that.
are in a season, and how long are each episode?
12,
It's just
and they're about 30 minutes, or 22,
So you could
40.
get through it in a shift, Andy.
What's that?
You could get through it in a shift.
Yeah, pretty much. I can watch it in my like a Saturday shift. Oh, by the
Yeah.
way, I still can't get into the VDI. So that's going to be interesting come tonight.
Burger.
What?
Send me your Crunchyroll stuff. 'Cause I wanna watch it.
Okay.
Whoa, hold on. We haven't actually agreed on this anime.
I don't either. If we do an anime or not, I still want to have something to watch while I'm painting my fucking D&D minis.
I do need a new thing to binge watch. Went through 5 seasons of Archer this week.
Oh, you know what we
Dude,
could
I went into
do?
Peacock and I started watching The Office for the 1,000th time.
You know what we could do since Jeff's been like yelling at me to fucking watch it is The Expanse.
Isn't that the one where it's all about like this material or something that everyone's fighting over?
I think
Yeah,
that's
but
Dune.
But then there's also like this disease or something like. Dumb.
No, he's right. It is
I
about
was just
that.
fucking with you.
Isn't this this very like sci-fi political? And then there's like this
You know, this
disease. that
material
comes-
called gold. I think everybody fights about it in every book.
But isn't there like some sort of disease in this book where like people will turn to like this?
Yeah, the
material?
proto-molecule.
Yeah.
Like
I know
an
that Chris
alien
is a
thing
big
that-
fan of The Expanse. I know that you're a big fan of The Expanse.
Chris and my dad will not shut up about it, and because they won't shut up about it, I have yet to watch it because I'm like,
It's
I get it, guys.
Probably the best space show ever made. It makes
are saying
all the
that,
rest
yeah.
of them look terrible.
Yeah, people were saying like on the sci-fi level of things, it's probably one of the high tier.
And we all have
sci-fi.
Amazon Prime, which means we can all watch it.
I don't have Amazon Prime. I think I get that from my buddy Zip, who sends me gun stuff. I'll hit up Zip.
There you go. You can hit up Zip, the most white trash name I've heard in a while.
Oh, dude, this guy, he's like 400 pounds, 7'2", beard, owns a gun shop in Cincinnati. He's, yeah,
All right, so
he's a guy.
do you guys want to do season 1 of The Expanse then?
No, but I will.
So I'm going to take that as a yes. I'm assuming it's a yes from Jeff.
Yeah, I can rewatch it for like the 4th time.
It's a yes.
I'm only
from-
doing like one season though, right?
Yeah, just first season. Because each season is a
Okay.
book, right, Jeff?
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay.
Was this a book series before it was a show?
Yes.
Yeah.
The reason
The
and
same guy that
so
wrote that Dagger and Coin series. Said
they haven't read Dagger in the Coin yet.
I've heard of this.
But
series.
no,
apparently
one of the guys.
yeah, one of
Pen
the
name.
So apparently this show started on the Sci-Fi Network and then it got canceled. But Jeff Bezos is a huge fan of the book series, so he fucking bought the rights to the show and has been producing it since through Amazon Prime.
The next season is supposed to be the last.
Yeah. So it's also a finished book series then.
How many seasons are there?
The book series hasn't. The last one hasn't released yet, but the TV series are going to end after this season.
How many is that right now?
How many seasons?
I think it's 7.
Oh wow.
Will be the
That's
end of it.
a good run.
I could be wrong. It might be 6. The book there's like 9 books, so it's pretty close to a season, but sometimes it's a book and a half.
How true to the book is the show?
Really true to the book. They embellish some of the character arcs a little bit more.
I've heard that they introduced some characters early on the show compared to the books.
Yeah, one of the main characters in the show isn't in the first book. but she's in the first season. I feel like the first 2 seasons are like the first 3 books ish, but it's pretty close.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll do season 1
There's some
of.
stuff I think the show does better than the books, and there's some things in it that like obviously the books have the ability to go into more detail, but I feel like the show conveys a lot of the ideas in the books better than the books do.
Okay. So 2 weeks, season 1. I'd say I'd say about a week and a half into it, I'll check in with you guys and see if you're close to finishing, because I know with like a television series, it might be a little bit harder for you to finish.
So,
So I'll check in and just to make sure we're good. And
so with
then-
me, definitely check in with me because
yeah, you said you're going to be
starting-
busy with your.
Starting next weekend is my charity. We're kicking off our superhero
Oh.
September. So
Plug the charity.
put on the cape. We're based in Arizona. We raise money to fight child abuse and raise money for victimized families. We use superheroes to empower kids in group homes and stuff. Every September is our superhero September. So we take kids on shopping sprees, and while they go crazy and get toys and everything, we get group homes the necessities like diapers and clothes and hygiene products and stuff. So that's what I'll be doing this entire next month, every weekend, and then ending in a big superhero smash thing on the 28th at the main group home that we partner with. But we work with Phoenix PD, and yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm
All right.
Star-Lord.
Cool. Do you have a URL for us?
Putonthecape.org.
There we go.
Or just put on the cape. You can find us and find a lot of our event information, of course, on Facebook and stuff.
There we go. I'll link it in the description of the video as well.
Cool. So if we do this, there's a chance I may miss these next couple weeks. I'll definitely just at least follow up with Andy and just be like, "Hey, are you guys doing season 2 now? Hey, are you guys doing season 3 now?"
Yeah,
What are we
and
doing?"
if you think that you're gonna miss, you can send
Yeah,
me
I'll
some
do that,
notes,
but-
and I'll just say like Nate says this. That way,
Yeah.
if any audience member is a fan of Nate, they can follow what you said.
But there's a chance I may miss these couple episodes because I'm going to be very busy this next month. With charity.
I might be able to get Chris roped in just simply by saying, "Hey, we're doing the Expanse, the
doing The
television
Expanse.
show," because he's such a big fan.
He's just going to be like, "Bet." I'm in.
Any closing notes from anybody else?
My
And then
brain.
we're gonna watch Jujutsu Kaisen. It's okay.
Yeah, yes. I mean, that stuff. I'm
We'll
gonna
not watch that.
And we'll probably see, even if Chris does join us, we might still have Jeff here just because you've got nothing else to do on Sundays, right?
Yeah, well, other than sleep, apparently.
There you go. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Did we actually just do an outro?
Yes, we did.